My name is Alina, and I never expected my quiet, perfectly ordinary life to turn into a storm that almost ruined me. But that day in the classroom, the day we almost got caught, that was the moment everything changed. I still replay it in my head, wondering how far I let things go, how I ignored every red flag, and why I begged him to never stop, never step away, never let go of the connection that was already destroying everything I thought I stood for. Because the truth, you never expect betrayal to come from you. You never expect to become the villain in your own story. Hook first 20-25 seconds, I wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't supposed to look at me like that. And when the classroom door handle twisted, when someone tried to walk in, it felt like the world froze. My heart nearly shot out of my chest. If that door had opened just 2 seconds earlier, everything, my job, my reputation, my marriage, would have ended right there. I told myself it was innocent at first, but looking back, it was never innocent, not for a second. The story begins 6 months earlier. I teach literature at a high school. Nothing glamorous, but it's a job I love. My marriage had been slowly dissolving for years, turning into a comfortable silence rather than a partnership. We were two people living in the same house, breathing the same air, but never colliding. Like roommates who forgot they used to love each other. Then came Daniel. He was a new teacher, young, confident, the type who walked into a room and everyone felt it, the kind of man who spoke with calm authority, but had a warmth that made people want to talk to him. He wasn't assigned to my department, but our classrooms were next to each other, so we ended up crossing paths constantly. The first time he talked to me, I remember feeling something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Noticed it started small, a compliment about my lesson plan, a comment about how patient I was with students, a laugh at one of my sarcastic remarks. We'd stay after school sometimes, just to chat. I told myself it was normal. Teachers talk. Teachers connect. That wasn't a lie. But what I didn't admit, what I didn't dare admit, was that I looked forward to those moments more than I should have. One evening, as we were grading papers side by side, he leaned back and said, "You know, Alina, you deserve someone who actually sees you." I froze. He wasn't talking about school anymore, and I wasn't pretending not to understand. I should have ended it then, pulled away, drawn a line. Instead, I stayed. I stayed because the way he looked at me made me feel alive, like I hadn't been sleepwalking through my own life. From that day, everything shifted. We'd find reasons to be alone, quick conversations in empty hallways, lingering glances during staff meetings, a brush of his hand against mine when no one was watching. Each moment pushed the boundary a little further, and each time I told myself it was the last. Until the day in the classroom. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Most of the school had cleared out early because of a staff training session. I was gathering assignments when Daniel knocked lightly on my door and stepped inside. "You look stressed," he said softly. I laughed. When am I not? He walked closer, closing the door behind him without even thinking. Or maybe he was thinking. Maybe we both were. The room was dim, the windows cloudy with raindrops. The world outside felt muffled, quiet, like the universe had carved out this moment just for us. "We should talk," he said. Those words were always dangerous. Talking meant honesty. Honesty meant confronting what we were doing. But instead of pulling back, I moved closer. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it was months of emotional starvation. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, like I was the only person in the world. Maybe it was the simple, terrible fact that I didn't want to feel alone anymore. He stepped forward, and suddenly there was no more space between us. His hand rested on the desk behind me. My breath caught. My heart hammered so loudly I swore he could hear it. "Alina," he whispered, "just tell me to stop." But I didn't. God help me, I didn't. In fact, I begged him not to, because in that moment, logic evaporated. Guilt evaporated. Reality evaporated. There was only the feeling of being wanted. Deeply, intensely, dangerously. Then it happened. The door handle turned. Both of us jumped like someone had fired a gun. My stomach dropped to my feet. His eyes went wide. I felt every ounce of blood drain from my face. "Hello, anyone in here?" A voice called, one of the senior teachers, a strict, no-nonsense woman who would have reported us in a heartbeat. Daniel didn't say a word. He moved behind the supply shelf while I scrambled to grab a stack of papers, pretending I had just dropped them. The door opened halfway before she paused. "Oh, thought I heard voices," she said. My voice shook. "Just me, packing up." She stared for a long, terrifying second. I could feel her eyes scanning the room, her suspicion sharp enough to cut glass. Then she shrugged and closed the door. I didn't breathe until I heard her footsteps fade down the hallway. Daniel stepped out slowly, his face pale. I pressed both hands over my mouth to stop myself from shaking. "That was too close," he whispered. Too close didn't even begin to describe it. If she had walked in 30 seconds earlier, we would have been done, fired, shamed, exposed. After she left, we stood there for a long moment in complete silence, the weight of what almost happened hanging between us like a heavy storm cloud. That was the moment reality finally hit me. I saw the disaster I was inviting into my life, the home I was already losing, the marriage I hadn't fought for, the career I was risking, the woman I was becoming, someone I didn't even recognize anymore. "I can't do this," I whispered. He nodded, but his eyes told a different story. He didn't want to stop, and the horrible truth was, neither did I, but we had to. We pulled away, not just physically, emotionally, slowly, painfully, like tearing off a bandage glued to skin. The following weeks were hell. We avoided each other, avoided eye contact, avoided being alone in the same room. Every time I saw him talking to another teacher, a sting of jealousy caught me off guard, reminding me of the emotional door I had opened. At home, I sat my husband down. I didn't confess everything. I wasn't ready for that level of destruction, but I told him we needed help. Counseling, communication, something, anything, he agreed. Maybe he sensed how close he had come to losing me. Maybe he already had. Daniel eventually requested a transfer to another building. I didn't stop him. I couldn't. It was the only thing that made sense. We don't talk anymore. We don't even make eye contact when we pass each other in district meetings. But sometimes I catch him glancing my way, and we both remember the day that almost ended everything. I'm not proud of what I did. I'm not proud of who I became, but I learned something powerful. Loneliness is dangerous. Neglect is dangerous. Feeling unseen is dangerous, because you don't realize how vulnerable you are until someone finally sees you and you start risking everything just to feel alive again. This is my story, and maybe someone out there will hear it and pull themselves back before the door handle turns, before it's too late.